We're meeting here tonight at November 18th, 2020. We're voting to go into executive session. And this is regarding matters that are not available for open session at this time. And in order to go into executive session, I'm going to take a roll call vote of the parties present.
Dan?
And I'll start with Mr.
Dan?
Barletta. Yeah.
Sorry, just before you take a vote, might I suggest the form of a motion that someone could make? The motion would be to enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing pending litigation in the matter of Tresca versus Zoning Board of Appeals of Wilmington, where the chair declares that having the discussion in an open meeting would jeopardize the town's litigating position.
Are there any other matters that are to be discussed in executive session that should be announced at this point?
You know, I would also suggest adding to that, as I think of it, the litigation of Tresca versus Town of Wilmington and Eanes Street LLC, I believe is the name, which is a separate pending lawsuit.
Gotcha.
So I have anyone just say so moved?
So
Do I have
moved.
anyone willing to make that motion?
Motion as Jonathan has relayed. Does that work?
Motion is stated by town council. Do we have
Yeah.
a second on that motion?
I'll second.
All right, I think Ray, I heard you first. We're going to take a roll call vote to go into executive session. I'll start with Mr. Barletta.
Yes.
Aye. Mr. Lepore.
Aye.
Ms. Santini.
Aye.
Mr. Siracusa.
Aye.
And then myself, aye. So we're going to adjourn into executive session.
And just so folks know, and Mr. Chair, if you could confirm, the board will be reconvening in open session after the conclusion of the executive session.
Yes, we will be reconvening into open meeting at the end of the executive session.
Mr. Chair, I'm now pausing the recording and locking the meeting.
Thank
Let's see. Oh, look at that. Meeting is now live streaming.
Just let me know when you were live, Mr. O'Neill.
Will do. Mr. Chair, we are live. I'm also going to take back control of the muting and unmuting. I'm going to begin letting in members of the public, including appointments.
Thank you, Mr. O'Neill. I'm calling to order the Town of Wilmington Board of Appeals, Zoning Board of Appeals meeting of November 18th, 2020. It is now, double check, 6:54 p.m. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law under General Law 38, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. Members of the public who wish to watch and listen to this meeting may do so in the following manner: on WCTV, 7 p.m., Comcast Channel 22, Verizon Channel 38, period. The meeting of the Wilmington Board of Appeals is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public is going to be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access these proceedings in real time via technological means. Members of the public who would like to listen to this meeting while in progress may do so via telephone by dialing 1-646-558-8656 and enter the meeting ID number 840-5590-1563. Then press the pound sign and then press the pound sign again at the next voice prompt. Members of the public attending this meeting virtually will be allowed to make comments if they wish to do so during the portion of the meeting designated for public comment by following the steps previously noted and then press *9 on the telephone keypad. This will notify the meeting host that the caller wishes to speak. All callers using this feature will be placed in queue in the order they entered the prompt. In the event that, despite our best efforts, we are not able to provide for real-time access, we will post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as we are able. Interested parties may obtain contact information on how to access the public hearing and offer comment by viewing this meeting agenda, which will be posted or was posted on the town's website no later than 4:30 p.m. on Monday, November 16th, 2020. Individuals may also contact the IT department manager at 978-284-8205 to obtain guidance on accessing the public hearing. We just entered into public session from executive session, and the first matter on the docket this evening is, let's see, case 1920. Gibraltar Pools and Spas. Actually, you know what? Jonathan, should we take up the matter in executive session first?
Well, it's not the executive, you already had the executive session, but there's.
The matter that we were in executive session, should we take that up first?
Yeah, that is on the agenda prior to Gibraltar.
Okay, so we're going to enter into a discussion on and potential deliberation to a result on 90 Eames Street, the application of Tresca Brothers Sand and Gravel for special permits, and we are voting to grant a special permit or potentially grant a special permit pursuant to sections 3.6.6 and 6.6.7.7 of the zoning bylaws as required by a judgment of the Superior Court in the matter of Tresca Brothers Sand and Gravel versus Town of Wilmington Board of Appeals, civil action number 1681 CV 01986, and Tresca Brothers Sand and Gravel Incorporated versus Town of Wilmington Board of Appeals, civil action number 161 CV 01987. Jonathan, I'll give it to you.
There we go. Sorry, I muted myself by accident and needed to wait for John to unmute me. So just a real quick background here for anyone listening. There was an appeal of a decision back in, I want to say 2015, to deny these special permits for the proposed operation of a special permit of a cement plant, actually 2016, at 90 Eames Street. That matter was appealed. The Superior Court overturned the ZBA's decision to deny, and that was affirmed on appeal by the appeals court. So at this point, the ZBA is required, pursuant to the Superior Court decision and judgment, to issue the special permits as requested. I have prepared a draft special permit decision for the board's consideration that includes certain conditions that were agreed upon by the applicant during the original zoning board of appeals decision hearing rather, and to require that the project be undertaken in conformance with the plans and documents submitted by the applicant, but no additional conditions beyond that have been included. So that is the action before the board, and at this point, I would recommend that the board vote to approve the special permits in the form of the decision as drafted, and authorize me to work with Kelly to finalize the decision, get it before you for signatures, and file with the town clerk.
Okay, a predicate question. Has everyone on the board had an ability to review the revised proposed decision?
Yes.
All right,
Yeah, Tom, yes, yeah.
okay. So everybody's had a chance to see it. I will now entertain a motion regarding that revised proposed decision. Anyone move to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the, I don't even have the reference to the case number, the approved, a revised decision brought forth by town council.
Okay,
Second.
do we have a second on that?
Second.
I'll second.
Well, I think Miss Santini, ladies come first, so Miss Santini got it. So I'm gonna go through a roll call. Mr. Barletta,
Yes.
Mr. Lepore,
Yes.
Miss Santini,
Yes.
Mr. Siracusa,
Yes,
and then myself, yes. So that special permit is approved. Or the special permits, there were two of them, I guess. Is
Thank you.
that all you needed on that one, Mr. Silverstein?
It's all I needed. Unless the board has any questions, I will take my leave, and I hope you all have a wonderful night.
Good luck, my friend. Stay well.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, to all of you as well. Happy
Hey,
Thanksgiving.
by the way,
Yeah.
you look, take the glasses off and you look like a Civil War general with that long beard now. It used to be high and tight. Now it's long and it's got gray in the
Yeah.
middle. You look
It's the
like somebody
COVID
that you look like somebody that they defeated at Chickamauga in Georgia in like 1864.
My kids have been watching these Viking shows, and they want it to grow long enough so they can like put metal beads in it and stuff and braid it, so I look like a Viking.
All right.
Not sure how the courts would react to that, but
Happy Thanksgiving, Jonathan. Thank you.
take care.
Okay. So the next case on the docket, on the regularly scheduled docket, is case 1920. It's a continued case from our October 14th, 2020 meeting. Gibraltar Pools and Spas, map 8, parcel 91A, at 15 Winston Avenue, to acquire a variance to place an above-ground pool. Who do we have on behalf of the applicant?
This is Peter DiBernardo from Gibraltar Pools.
Nice to see you, Peter. How are you?
Thank you. How are you?
Okay, I'm doing well. So I think at the last meeting, somebody remind me, we were wondering, I think, whether the pool was going to be bumped or adjusted accordingly back of the setback. Is that right?
Yes, we were talking about it, moving it towards the wetland. The problem is I went out and remeasured, and that wetland, where the wetland is marked on the plan is the beginning of the wetland, but it's not the edge of the, let's say, the lawn area. It's marked about 15 feet in from the edge of the lawn area down a slope. So if we tried to move it back towards the wetland, we'd be on the precipice of a slope. It would be unstable for the above ground pool.
Now, forgive me if I'm confusing this with another case, but I thought that there was something where you go before the Conservation Commission. Is that right?
Yes, but when I went and remeasured, it really is not too much of an option to get it appreciably towards that wetland, because as I say, the line where the wetland is demarcated is into the woods. It's at the base of a slope. It's not a buildable area, so it really can't be pushed
the
back.
Conservation Commission, as you're saying, it would be a dead letter and they would just reject it.
And it would be roughly, it would be very difficult to build anything closer
Okay.
because of the situation. We're in proximity to a slope.
So,
Quite a downgrade.
so are the property owners seeking the same relief that they were at the last meeting?
Yes, please.
Having, explored that other option?
Yes, please.
Okay. I'm gonna open it up to the board. Anyone want to comment?
Yeah, I have a question. What was the planning board recommendation on this one?
You know what? I'm gonna have to defer to Kelly on that because I only have the planning board recs at handy for this meeting. So Kelly, if you can let us know what the planning board thought on that. I thought they remembered, from what I remember, I thought that they said that they should try to conform.
That's correct. They did suggest at the last meeting, in their memo, that they attempt to make the pool smaller and try to conform. They did not agree with giving them a variance. They also suggested that they attempt to go before conservation again, as conservation sometimes allows for a smaller setback from the wetlands.
Okay, I do remember that, but I guess just to state my opinion on the record for the edification of the board. I mean, I don't remember ever voting for a variance for a pool because everybody comes before us and they're always kind of like real like Hail Marys, like not really clear. But if you look at this lot, the lot is literally divided in half by wetlands. In my opinion, I mean, if you can't say that either slope, topography, lot, natural obstructions are causing a hardship, I don't know what is. I mean, literally these folks can only use half of their lot, which is, understood. But my opinion is this is probably the first pool variance that I'm going to vote for in like 16 years. So I'm in favor of it, but I'll open it up to the board.
May I say one thing? This is the pool company again. It also is heavily screened from the side street there. So I just wanted to chirp in on that.
Okay. Anybody from the board wish to be heard on this?
Yeah, Dan, I'm gonna vote with you on that. I remember this conversation that we had, and I believe there was a wetland, if I got the right one, a wetland line coming up through in the rear, which like I stated before, that where it curves in and out, it does create a problem as far as setbacks. So I'm gonna vote in favor with you on this one.
Yeah, I mean, like I've never seen an entire lot like they can only use half their lot.
If that.
But anyway, anybody else wish to be heard on it?
Actually, I'm going to oppose that. I just, I don't want to set a precedent. It's a pool. If it was something, possibly if it was an addition, I'd probably might have a different opinion, but it's a pool. And I would be voting against it.
Okay, anybody else?
Has the applicant gone before conservation and asked for relief?
You know what, Tom, we just discussed that. They said that the conservation would never approve it because it's so close.
Well, may I say, we did go through conservation initially, and it was approved, quote unquote approved. We got a with the 25-foot setback. So we did file for a determination from them, and it was Valerie, if you're on the line, we did get an approval from them a few weeks prior.
When did you do that? When did you do that? When did you get approval?
Yeah, that was at the
I didn't believe that there was an approval there, but I understand, because if I'm not sure if that's accurate.
I don't
Well,
think,
the board voted, and what, if that, I don't know if that's an approval, but,
if I understand
I
this
can chime
correctly,
in. They did allow for the pool with the 25-foot setback, which made him push the pool back to need a variance to where he could put it. Valerie suggested he go back before conservation and ask for a smaller setback, which they may approve, but he stated, that's when Mr. DiBenedetto stated that would, the land slopes too much back there. So the pool wouldn't work back there.
well, I don't think that the land slopes and it's expensive to put a retaining wall in. It's not impossible, but it's an extra step or an extra cost that the applicant may need to take. And I don't think that I think it's incorrect to say that the Conservation Commission would disapprove it, because I think Valerie's opinion is that they might approve it. Because the 25-foot, if I remember what Valerie said, was not a steadfast dimension that they hold to. They look at all the conditions, they look at all the surroundings, and then they make their own determination based on the actual case. And I think that, I mean, I don't want to vote against this, but I feel like, we asked the applicant to go back to conservation and see if they could push it back a little bit. And the applicant's basically just coming back and saying it's too hard. And I mean, variances, we don't give out that often. As Dan said, we've never given them out for a pool. And I just don't think that I don't know, I'm torn on this, because I agree with Dan that you could argue that there is a hardship there, but I could also argue that I don't know that the applicants really push the envelope enough to say, can we make the pool a little smaller, like the planning board suggested, or can we encroach on the wetlands a little bit more? And all we're hearing is, well, it's sloped a little too much, it's going to be too hard to do. So I
yeah,
don't-
not a little too much, forgive me. It slopes down pretty precipitously, and it's about a 6-foot probably slope into woods.
Do you have a photograph by chance of that?
No, sorry.
No. I'm on the fence.
Anyone else?
I think I also heard that basically the measurements weren't accurate to begin with.
Where'd you hear that, Jack?
From the applicant. He went back and measured and wasn't it, the measurements turned out to be different?
No, the measurements are the same. This is done by a registered surveyor. The measurements are the same. The wetland delineation is the edge of the wetland, and but you can't go closer to that mark than where we are, because when you get that delineation is actually probably 10 or 15 feet into the woods, where the wetlands begins. Between the mowed area, let's say it's like a putting green, the grass, between the regular buildable area of the backyard and the wetlands delineation, there is a slope that goes down into the woods. And so it's unusable area really to do that.
Unless you go smaller.
Yeah, it's one of our smaller sizes already. I mean, I understand it's a typical pool size is 16 by 32. This is 8 feet shorter than that. So it's.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone care to, well, let me ask first, Mr. O'Neill, is there anyone who from the public that wishes to be heard on this?
Currently, there's not, Mr. Chair. For members of the public joining, if you join by phone, You can hit *9 to raise a virtual hand. If you have joined by the Zoom link, you can raise a virtual hand by that function within the client.
Okay, let's wait, at least a little while.
Can I ask the pool guy, pool contractor question? I'm looking at
Well,
the,
hold on, Tony. Let's close the public hearing first. I know there's a natural reaction and silence to fill it in, but I want to make sure that there's nobody. I want to get that portion of the meeting taken care of. Mr. O'Neill, has anyone chimed in that wishes to be heard on this?
No, there's no one, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so I will close the public hearing on this, and now Mr. Barletta, pose your question.
I'm looking at the photograph. It's an aerial of the, that was submitted with the plan. And so you've orientated the pool like parallel with MOA. And it appears to me that when I'm looking at the photograph, there's a tree line along MOA.
Yes.
How close to the tree line, I'm just looking at the photograph that was submitted, approximately how close to the tree line is that pool? On the MOA side?
Yes, I believe we're 30 feet from the street. The tree line is along the street, so probably that's probably an 8 or a 10-foot buffer there, filled in with that vegetation. So probably maybe 20 or 22 feet from there.
Okay, that's fine.
I have one thing. I'm sure you cannot see this, but this is the RDA. It was at the September 4th meeting, and it was a negative determination. So in other words, it was, to my mind, we were given I was congratulated by the members at the board, and it bears the signatures of the Conservation Commission members. So if there was a question about whether they approved it or whatever the language would be, they did give us the go-ahead and sent us the determination. So,
well, I mean,
with the 25-foot setback, yeah.
I mean, I as I said earlier, I was kind of right on the fence, and I think looking at this photograph, which is the aerial photo that's in our package, and the fact that it is 30 feet from the street, and taking into consideration what Dan stated about the slope on the site, the proximity to the wetlands, and I think I could, we don't really give variances away, but I mean, this, I feel just the opposite of Jackie. I'm more inclined to give a variance for the pool and less inclined to give a variance for an addition. But I think I'd be okay to approve this.
Anyone else have any comment, or does anyone care to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. Make a motion. A second here. Make a motion to approve to issue a variance for case number 1920 to construct a pool 30 feet from the front setback when 40 feet is required.
Anyone care to second that motion?
I'll second.
We have a second by Mr. Lepore. I'm going to go through a roll call vote. Mr. Barletta,
Yes.
Mr. Lepore,
Yes.
Mr. Saracusa,
Yes.
Ms. Santini,
No.
and then myself, yes. Good luck, sir.
Thank you kindly. I appreciate the consideration.
4-1. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next case on the docket is case 2020. Laura Osgood, map 69, parcel 102A, 15 Jacob Street, seeking to acquire a variance for an addition 18.5 feet from the side setback, with 30 feet is required due to the building being a corner lot. Who do we have here on behalf of the applicant?
Myself, I'm Laura Osgood. My husband's
Hi, Miss-
here and my mom's here.
Hi,
Our
Ms.
builder-
Osgood, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing okay. Why don't you let us know what you're looking for and say anything you want the board to consider.
Okay. So we been wanting to build on the side of our house for my parents. My dad is not doing well. My mom needs a lot of help with him. And for her to be somewhere without us living with her has not worked. So we went to try to build on the side of the house. We originally were told we could build a couple times.
By who?
I went down to the town a couple times and we were told we could do the build. And then when we started getting everything ready and got our builder ready, it was said that we couldn't build because we had two fronts. So whether there was confusion, I don't know, but when
do you know, and this is just for me, do you
Yeah.
know who you spoke to by name and when?
I think I went down and spoke with Kelly, and I think we talked about, told her where I lived, got some information about a variance, and we were told that we could build. I don't know. And
All right,
that happened.
well, I'll just say, I know, I mean, Kelly's not the building inspector. Do you remember when this was?
We went down there in maybe August,
Okay.
July and August. We started the process this summer.
Okay, that's fine. But
Yeah, we went
it
down this
wasn't the
summer.
building inspector that told you that.
No, it was not.
Okay, go ahead. I
Yeah.
didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
That's okay. Yeah. So anyways, we had gone down and we were told we could do it. So we were getting our balls in the row, talked with our builder. And then when we got all the building and the builder got down to go ahead and get the building permit, it was then said that we could not build because we had two fronts. So we said, okay. So, after the couple months of us thinking we could, we would have wished we had known that sooner. That said, so we said, well, what can we do? We really need to do this. We've actually gone off looking for in-laws. There's no in-laws out there that would work for us. Putting my dad in a nursing home, that's not even a question at this point with COVID and the way life is. So we decided we wanted to push for this variance, so we got our builder and our architect, and we've been back and forth a lot with Kelly on this, getting some more info on if we're, following everything that we needed. So we put it all through, and now we're here today, hoping we can make this happen.
All right, let me ask you, every time we have, I'm assuming that but in case you don't, a variance is, you're asking basically that we make an exception to the rule, which is kind of held to a strict standard. And in this case, under the law, we have to find that there's a hardship that applies to your property that has to do, not financial, but either the shape of the land, the topography, the soil condition, the lot, the way it's set up, like something like logistically on the land where you're kind of screwed and you need to have a break. What's the hardship that you are articulating in your application?
Well, I honestly feel the hardship is that, there's a lot of other homes in this town that are on corner lots that are not 30 feet off on both sides, for one. So that was frustrating. My parents have been living in this town for 48 years, paying their taxes, doing all they need to do, bringing up 3 daughters, members of the church, members of the community. Our family's in a rough place, and this was our only scenario. We've reached out, we've looked at other options to buy an in-law. We've looked at other places to try to build on another home, and nothing has worked. So this is our like last resort to make this happen for my family.
Gotcha. Thank you. Members of the board wish to be heard on this?
I'll speak. So I actually, I watched the planning board meeting when they discussed this, and they had some comments on it that are kind of similar to mine. You know, you're asking for relief, which is very difficult to get, but you're asking for relief for a in-law apartment. But the addition includes a big garage as well. So, you know, I think that the addition could also be maybe resituated so that it is pushed behind the house a little bit. You know, you've got the opportunity to add on to the back of the house. If we're only adding on an in-law apartment and we don't need a 50 by 20 addition for an in-law apartment, then you could come back and you could give us something that is smaller and ask for less relief than ask for major relief. And the other problem I have with it is that, you know, Cunningham Street is really the, you know, is the main street, so to speak, where, you know, this addition is going to be fronting that street and pretty abruptly. And it's big. It's really big. It's longer than the house. So I have an issue with the overall size of it. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't vote for some, you know, I will vote for variances from time to time, but I just think you're coming in and you're asking for too much.
Can I say something on that?
That's just my opinion.
Yep. So, well, my dad at this point may end up in a wheelchair. He's not walking well, very little. And that was also part of why every in-law that we've looked at has been in a basement. And how my dad wouldn't be able to get upstairs. Like he would never get, you know, it was just not a workable situation. As far as having a garage for them, we could do a smaller garage. That's just the way he added it on because it just matched the house, but it's more for my parents. So my mom can get into the garage, get my dad out, get him into a wheelchair, get him in there. The spacing that he did was all spacing so that a wheelchair can get in and out of a bathroom, into the bedroom, you know, maneuvering things much easier for my parents, which is why they went with that size. I think that is what the architect had in mind, so it would work for my parents.
Okay, anybody else?
I can say, I know that I can appreciate where you're coming from, but I know it wasn't too long ago where I denied a similar situation where it was on a corner lot. So just with that, you know, to be fair, you know, I'm not gonna, you know, I appreciate where you're coming from, but again, the variance is something that I'm not going to be for because of a similar situation where they wanted to, they were on a corner lot. I mean, it's just what you have. So, and that's what they had, and it didn't get approved. So I can't kind of say it's okay for you when it wasn't okay for them. So.
Dan,
Yes.
is this lot's on sewer, is that correct? Is
That I
correct?
don't know. You can
Well, the
ask
only-
the applicant.
Yes, it is.
And if I'm looking at this, it seems like your frontage of this house, it's a little jog, and then I see the proposed addition, and that's on Cunningham Street. That's facing Cunningham Street, correct?
The house is facing Jacobs.
It's facing, okay,
My house is facing Jacob Street.
okay. So it's, all right. So this addition, would you say that is on the back of the house right now? Would you say that's where that addition is? Is that the back?
That's the side of the house.
I mean, the side, I'm sorry. Okay, and you only got, so if I'm reading this in the back of the house, you only got
There's just not
19.
enough space in our back.
Right, that's what I'm looking at. Plus, is it all woods in the back of your land? Because I know there's a lot of wetlands down there.
Not behind not my neighbors next to us, but not our lot. Our lot has a fence and then a house behind it that is facing Cunningham.
Okay, and I gotta read it. I know it's in front of me. A lot of things here is, what is your setbacks as far as that you're supposed to be at 20, where's that piece of paper? Is it 20
I think
feet?
our back, I think we're 15 off the back, which are the addition would be 18 off the back. And we're looking, I think it's 18 off the side, which we originally thought it was 15, which when we originally went down to the town, which they said, yes, it was the 15 off the side and 30 off the front. And then we found out it's 30-30. But, you know, like I said, I mean, my neighbors across the street from us, they're not 30 off their side for sure. They're definitely closer. So
No,
that's
I'm
all. We're
familiar-
just like, you know,
I'm familiar with that whole area. All those houses got additions and 2 stories and they're on top of the streets and whatever, which is fine, you know. That's what we're here for, to help people, I guess. I know we have rules and regulations, but there's also many kinds of hardships. And we have sewer, you know, obviously I don't see it doesn't create a hardship with a septic system. And if that was R10, if I'm not mistaken, you do meet the setbacks, am I correct? If, other than because you being on a kind of lots, why you're being
Yes.
penalized?
yep.
Okay. I mean, under the situation, I'll be honest with you, I understand taxes, I understand elderly, and I understand price of value of houses. I have no problem granting this.
Thank you.
Can I go?
So sad.
But are we still on? I don't hear anything.
Yeah, Dan's muted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm muted.
Mr. O'Neill, why would you do that to me? Are you Twitter? What are you doing? Are you censoring me, Mr. O'Neill? Okay. I will entertain any motion if anyone is inclined.
Did you want to go to the public first?
Yes. Okay. Anyone open up to open hearing, public hearing? Anyone care to be heard?
Mr. Chair, we have no one in queue right now.
Okay. Going once, going twice. Public hearing is closed. Anyone care to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
All right.
Oh, I heard a couple people. This time, Ray, I'll go to you.
All right, I make a motion that that we approve the application of 15 Jacob Street as requested by the applicant in the parcel map 69 map parcel 102.
Okay, do we have a second on that motion?
Second for discussion.
For discussion only.
Yes. I
Okay,
just want to
second for discussion only. Go ahead, Tony.
I just want to state that I am I intend to vote against this, but I want to implore the applicant to take this back, come back with something that's more reasonable. Because I think that I would be inclined to vote for it if it was something that was smaller, more reasonable, and pushed towards the back of the house. I just think you're asking for too much. And
Can I say
all I
something?
wanna say.
Can I say something on that? We really can't go off the back. There's not enough space. And we have this huge side of our house that is there. And I mean, where my fence is right now is further out than where the addition will go. I mean, my fence is further out than the additional goes, so it'll even be further in than the fence is. You know, I mean, I don't know how we could do it smaller, because if you have a wheelchair needing to get around through there, you got to have that space. You know, I mean, it's, if you look at the drawings, I mean, it's only a bathroom, a bedroom, a kitchen, living area, you know, with a garage so they can get in, you know, I mean, it's, you know, and the garage is only the size it was, is just because it was matching the house. It could go smaller. It's just, you know, when you have someone getting out from a wheelchair into their home, and it's snowing or it's raining, they need to have access and be dry and not be, you know, with the wet and the ice that could be on the grounds. I mean, I just don't quite know how we would do it. I mean, we've done it. It is small. I mean, it's enough just so that they can make it work for 2 people with the wheelchair.
Okay, any further discussion on the motion? Okay, hearing no further discussion on that, I will entertain a second on Mr. Lepore's motion. Do we have a second? Mr. Lepore's motion fails for a second. Do we have a further motion on this application?
I'll make a motion to deny the special permit for case 2020 to acquire a variance for an addition 18.5 feet from the side setback where 30 feet is required due to this being a corner lot.
We have a motion by Ms. Santini to deny the application. Do we have a second on that?
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Barletta. I'm going to go through a roll call vote. Mr. Barletta,
Yes.
Mr. Lepore,
No.
Ms. Santini,
Yes.
Mr. Siracusa,
No.
and then myself, yes. Do we have that? 3-2?
So does
Yes.
this mean that we will not be able to do this?
Yeah, that means, no, for a special permit,
The variance.
that means, I believe,
Variance.
that you get it.
It's a variance, Dan.
Oh, no, variance, excuse me, 4-1. No, that means it fails. I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry, ma'am.
Is there anything else I can say to make this change? Like, this is so important to us that we make this work. I just don't know any other ways to help my parents. Is there anything else that we can do to change that?
I mean, I don't want to give you legal advice. The only thing that I would say is that, you know, now that the variance has been voted down, there's a specific period of time where you can't bring it back. So you'd have to like readjust your plans and then bring it back to the board.
Dan,
Yes.
I have a question. On that vote, and maybe I got mine wrong. Was that the vote? I thought she made the vote to deny it. Is that correct?
The vote was correct, but she needs 4 votes to approve.
We need.
So,
Right. I thought I was voting no, not to deny it.
No, a variance
I
needs
want the vote
a
in
variance
favor.
needs a
Let's
supermajority. A variance needs a supermajority. It can only withstand 1 no vote. There were 2. So there was a vote to deny, which, you know, here's the problem, Ray. She can't pass unless she gets 4 votes.
Oh, I understand that, but I thought I was voting in favor of this addition, like my original motion was to approve it.
Right.
So I voted no. I thought the board was voting to deny it, and I was.
Miss Santini's motion was to deny. It
Oh,
was.
okay, all right. So I was all right. Okay, I understand.
No, her motion was to deny the variance.
I get it. All right. I just wanted to make sure that I was voting to approve.
Yeah,
All
so so the motion to deny passed 3 to, I believe, 2.
Yeah, I understand that.
Now, here's the problem, from what I understand, and I don't want to give legal advice, but because the variance was denied, there's a period of time where the applicant cannot come back before us unless
Correct.
it's a new application, which has got some changes to it.
I understand that, but I don't know. I keep saying why, like, it's so hard for me to say it just can get denied when I don't see, there's so many houses that are more 30 feet off. Like, there's so many other ones that are less than that. I mean, I don't know why it has to be a deny. Like, there's so many homes that are out there on corners.
Again, I'm loath to give legal advice, but I will say that, a variance means that your property is so, with regard to its physical location, the way it's set up, the soil, the ledge, if there's ledge involved, the shape of the lot, it's something that where you're being discriminated against vis-a-vis your immediate neighbors. So if you look at everything across the entire town, from what I gather, that's not the analysis. It has to be that because of the way your lot is set up, you're being, singled out, or you're in a hardship from the people immediately surrounding you. That's all.
But not
And
even,
again, I'm not a lawyer. I don't want to give you advice unless you're paying me. But
can I just say one more thing? So, I mean, all my neighbors were all for it. They had no problem with it, but the ones that have said no to this is simply because they think that there's no need for us to do it. It's not enough of a hardship. I'm just trying to understand the exact reasoning.
Right. I think the vote to deny, Ms. Santini didn't articulate what her reasoning was before she made her motion. She just voted to deny it. Ms. Santini, do you want to amend your own motion to include the reasons why you want to deny it?
Actually, no, because I had stated earlier kind of my rationale where there were other people that had corner lots that we had for variance, and they were denied, and it's a similar situation. So in that sense, it made sense to me to deny this one as well.
Do you find that there's a hardship?
Do I feel that there's a hardship with the land? No.
Okay. So do you want to amend your motion to include your reasons for denial?
Sure, if it makes it more clear.
I mean, I feel
Okay.
every family's hardships are different. I mean, whatever another family going for a variance on, and it's not my fault, I live on a corner lot. I understand that's the laws of the town. But there's reasons, every family's hardships are different, and I mean, I understand and I respect that you feel like you can't do it for one, so you shouldn't do it for another, but maybe whatever. I mean, this is a family who's been living here for 48 years, paying their taxes and bringing up children here and supporting this town of Wilmington. I can appreciate
that, but this was also another family that was kind of a town, been here for a while too, and it was similar. They were looking for, they were on a quarter lot. They were basically trying to do an addition for a family member, and they got denied too, and it was for variance because they were on a corner lot. Very, very similar. If almost not identical, and there wasn't enough room there, and so it's very similar.
Well, it's interesting, like when you're driving down and you go into, like, just coming out of my road out of Jacobs, there's fences right up to the side. You can't even see around the corner. This would have a fence down. It would make it even easier for people pulling out of my road to be able to see, because it wouldn't have the fence so far up. I mean, I think that's a benefit, and that's bettering for people coming out of my road. I mean, I feel that's a benefit for it. I'm just trying to look at the other side of that.
So can I pipe in here?
Well, no, hold on, folks. We took a vote. We had the vote. We already had discussion on it. I allowed the applicant, because she was very passionate about how she felt, I allowed the applicant to state her feelings on it, and I allowed the maker of the motion to discuss it as well. But the vote has been taken. So unless anyone makes any type of motion to reconsider, I'm going to go to the next agenda item. Anyone care to make a motion to reconsider?
I'll make a motion that the board reconsider.
Yeah, but all right. Ray, you voted against, you voted with Ms. Santini, correct?
No. I
No,
voted
the person who makes a motion to reconsider has to be someone who voted with the prevailing side.
Okay, I'm sorry. I tried.
Okay? Does anyone who voted for the prevailing side want to make a motion to reconsider? Okay, then ma'am, I apologize, but that's the vote of the board.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night. Next item on the docket is case 2120, Dottie and Jesse Plouffe. I apologize if I didn't pronounce it right. Map 27, parcel 4B, 3 Factory Street, to acquire a special permit under 5.6.6.7.7 for the groundwater protection district.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Dottie and Jesse Plouffe here. Thanks for your time this evening.
Okay, sir, let us know what you're looking for.
Sure. So essentially, we started this process simply enough. We wanted to put an above-ground pool in our yard. So we went over to town hall hoping we could get a permit to do so, and then we discovered that our property was located in a groundwater protection area, which meant that it now changed the pool permitting process to a little bit more of a engineering-based decision. So we had LJR Engineering come in, did a impervious water calculation, discovered that with the inclusion of the pool, if we didn't do anything as far as groundwater recharging, that we would be over the 50% limit. So he suggested that we design an infiltration system to basically route about half of the surface area of our home's roof through gutters into a groundwater recharge system, which would then put us below the 15% calculation again and hopefully free us up to put our pool in.
Okay, thank you. And just so to get it into the record, the engineer for the planning board voted to recommend approval. And it also looks like, just to check, the engineering department voted approval as well. So I'll open it up to the board first for any comments or questions before I open the public hearing. Nobody has any questions? Okay, then I'll open up the public hearing. Anyone wish to be heard on this? Mr. O'Neill, is there anyone in queue?
Mr. Chair, there is no one in queue.
Okay. Then I'll close the public hearing, come back to the board for any, motion or deliberation there too.
I'll make a motion to approve case 21-20, 3 Factory Street, to acquire a special permit, statute 6.6.7.7 for a groundwater protection district.
All right, do we have a second on that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, then I'm gonna go through the roll call. Mr. Barletta,
Yes.
Mr. Lepore,
Yes.
Ms. Santini,
Yeah,
Mr. Siracusa,
Yes.
and then myself, yes. Okay, folks, have a great night.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a great evening.
Okay.
Thank you.
The next case is 2020 15 Dorothy Avenue, map 90, parcel 94. Upon motion duly, it is, yeah, 2020, Deborah and Keith Poetry, map 90, parcel 94, 15 Dorothy Avenue, to acquire a special permit under 5.6.6.7.7, also for the groundwater protection district. We have the applicants here.
We do. We are.
here.
Hi, how are you folks?
Good, how are you?
Why don't you, I'm doing well, thank you. Why don't you let us know what you're looking for?
We are also looking for a special permit for, we are also in the groundwater protection district, and I'm sure as Kelly and Paula Looney can attest, we have gone back and forth several times with our own engineer and land surveyor to put a groundwater mitigation system in, and with that should be within the 15% land.
Okay, and also the planning board recommended approval, engineer recommended approval. I will go first to the board for any comments or questions. None. Anyone care to make a motion?
You want to go to public?
Oh, thank you, Jackie. I'm going to go to anyone care to make any comment in the public hearing?
Mr. Chair, we have no one in the queue right now.
Thank you, Mr. O'Neill. I'll wait a couple seconds. Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing. Anyone care to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve case 22-20, 15 Dorothy Ave, to acquire a special permit, statute 6.6.7.7 for the groundwater protection district.
Do we have a second on the motion?
Second.
Second by Mr. Lepore. I'll go through the roll call. Mr. Barletta,
Yes.
Mr. Lepore,
Yes.
Ms. Santini,
Yes.
Mr. Siracusa,
Yes.
and then myself, yes, that's unanimous. Thank you, folks.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. And let's see, the next case and the final case on the docket is 2330, 37 Marcus Road, map 92, parcel 14. And that is, I believe, is this Deborah and Keith Petrie?
Nope, that was just them.
Oh, that was just them.
No.
This is
Kevin Larkin.
Kevin.
You sent, you know what you did? You sent me two of the same one, Kelly. That's okay, but I'll pull up the agenda. And it is case 2320, Kevin Larkin, map 92, parcel 14, 37 Marcus Road, to acquire a special permit under 5.6.6.7.7, also for the groundwater protection district. Who do we have here for the applicant?
Kevin Larkins here.
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing well, Mr. Chairman. How are you?
I'm doing well. Why don't you let us know what you're looking for?
So I started this project a few years ago. I am third generation to own the property, and I'm looking to install a garage. And I had LJR Engineering do a plot plan, and then I realized that I was going to be over the 15%. And he entertained a few options, and it looks like it put me at about 17%. So the stormwater, groundwater protection was going to have to be implemented. And so he drew up a drawing for me, and hopefully that this would rectify it, and I'd be able to build the project.
And I see that both the planning board and the engineer approved your application, your petition. So what I'll do now is I'll open it up to the board for any comments or questions of the applicant. Okay, seeing none, I will go to the public. Mr. O'Neill, is there anyone in queue that wishes to be heard on this?
No, Mr. Chair, there's no one.
All right, hold on a sec. Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing on this. Does anyone care to make a motion on this particular application?
All right.
Going once, going
I
twice?
can make a motion to approve case 23-20, 37 Marcus Road to acquire special permit, statute 6.6.7.7 for the groundwater protection district.
Okay, do we have a second on that motion?
I'll second.
That's a second by Mr. Lepore. I'm going to go through the roll call. Mr. Barletta,
Yes.
Mr. Lepore,
Yes.
Ms. Santini,
Yes.
Mr. Siracusa, Mr. Siracusa,
Yes.
Bueller. Okay, we have, and then myself, yes. So that's 5-0. Okay. Good luck, folks.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, take care. I'm looking at the agenda, Ms. Malatesta, and I see the only administrative matter is to approve minutes from October 14th of 2020. Is that right?
Yes, I also wanted to just bring up to everybody, I sent in an email about the January meeting, if we could have it on January 6th, as opposed to the week after that, would be the 12th, if that's okay with
Okay, why don't we
everybody.
do this? Because then that reminds me of something too about the Zoom meeting. So why don't we take up your issue with the January meeting so we can get that out? Does anybody have a problem with adjusting the meeting schedule as Ms. Malatesta has indicated?
What's the reason for the moving it again, please?
Both myself and Tony Barletta are going to be on vacation for the 2 weeks after that. So that would push the meeting way to the end of January.
Okay, that's okay. I wasn't sure. Thank you. That's cool.
Okay. Yeah, and I didn't see anybody when that particular email was circulated regarding the scheduling change. I didn't see anyone raise an issue. Does anyone have a problem with that?
I
Okay.
don't.
So
Where are you
Kelly,
going on vacation?
yeah, where are you going?
Naples.
All
I'm
right,
going to Naples, Florida. Fingers
that works.
Hopefully Florida.
That's what that you know what, in January, that's better than Wilmington, Massachusetts.
You got
Okay,
it.
how about can you do me one favor then, Kelly? Can you, for the slow ones in the group, of which I number myself one of them, can you just shoot out an email reminder on that?
I sure will.
All right, thank you. Okay, so that's the meeting change. Now, why don't we do the minutes next, and then I have something I need to raise to the board too. So we already discussed, everybody had a chance to review the October 14th minutes?
Yes.
Okay, does anyone want to make a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, I think, you know what, I think Tony beat you on that, Ray. So
Fine.
Barletta's motion, do we have a second? You can second it.
I'll second.
All right, Ray seconds it. Mr. Barletta,
Yes.
Mr. Lepore,
Yes.
Ms. Santini,
Yes.
Mr. Siracusa,
Yes.
and then myself, yes. So those minute meetings are approved. Now, I'm not going to, this is the thing I want to bring up, and I almost forgot. I'm not going to read it into the record because it was like a 3 or a 4 or a 5-page email from the manager, but it's regarding Zoom meetings. So here's the deal. I think everybody was trying in the town to go back to in-person meetings like a few weeks ago. I think that's probably a non-starter right now, but I at least wanted to bring it to the board's attention. they are considering, or were considering a few weeks ago, going into public meetings, but giving members who were not comfortable or able to join that way a manner to which to connect remotely, which I guess is the best of both worlds or the worst of both worlds, depending on how you see it. But what they did is they sent this email, or I got it in the mail, to all of the chairmen of all the different boards, and they wanted us to talk to you folks to formulate any comments that we want to give on that. So I wanted to at least raise it as an issue, talk to you folks, because I mean, even though right now it may not be particularly timely as it was 3 weeks ago, it might be in 2 months from now. So if anybody wants to chime in on that, I would like to at least instruct Kelly to give the comments of the board to the manager. Anybody?
All right, so I'm going to pipe in here, and I think we should stay with this approach here, and just to work the virtual until the virus gets down to some sort of a manageable level, if there's such a thing. And so that's my comment on that. I think it's just too risky, and that's just my opinion.
You know what, Tom? The governor might agree with you. I think the manager is taking and this is the problem, I guess, without reading a 5-page letter into the record. They were saying that they were going to follow the governor's instructions, and the governor, you know, has not, from what I understand, or may not have lifted the current restrictions. So, you know, I hear you, and but at some point they may go back. Tom, would you or any other members of the board who are similarly concerned, would you have a problem with hooking up to the meeting remotely, even if it were held in person?
Say that again?
If there were a time where the governor allowed it and they had an in-person meeting, would the members of the board who are not comfortable with that be okay with hooking up remotely?
You mean an either or? An either or?
No, what I think is going to happen is at some point they're going to start having meetings in person. It's not now.
So
they were thinking of it a few weeks ago, but it isn't going to happen now because things are spiking. But at some point in the future, I mean, we're not going to be here forever. At some point in the future, they're going to have in-person meetings. And the people who they're saying that the memo was, the people who are not comfortable with that, would they be okay with doing this? Would they be okay with doing this remotely, even if the meeting were held at town hall? That's what I'm saying.
Mr. Chair, I can expound upon that a bit. We can run hybrid meetings where, you know, as a board, you meet in person and maybe 1 or 2 of the members join remotely. What we've done in the past is we set up a TV in the auditorium that's hooked up to a computer that's running the Zoom client that allows for remote participants to join the meeting.
You know, Mr. O'Neill, that's exactly what I was trying to convey, perhaps, and you did it, you know, with more authority and conviction and more articulately than me. But that's what I meant. At some point, they're going to have a meeting in person. Would the folks that may not be comfortable with that be okay if they could log on like this and join that meeting? That's what I'm asking. Because that's what the manager is asking me to get our comment on.
Possibly. Yeah. I suppose it kind of would remain to be seen of when we get closer to some kind of resemblance of normal, or depending on what the atmosphere is with Corona.
Why don't we do this, Kelly? Can you ask the manager, he sent it to the chairman of all the boards. Can you ask the manager if he feels comfortable sending that or having you forward that email and the attachment, which I received via mail, by the way, to send it to the entire board, because I'll tell you right now, no one's having an in-person meeting before our next meeting. It's just not happening. So why don't you get the manager to get authority to send that communication to all the members of the board so they can read what I'm reading, because I don't want to advocate for one way or another. I'm just trying to present it the way it was presented to me this week. So, you know, you send it to all the members of the board, and then we put it on as an agenda item on the next meeting. Can we do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I say a few words here, please? So the situation is very dynamic. So things go from 1 month to another. You got a vaccine that's coming up. So, you know, why do we have to make a decision now? Why don't we play it month by month and see how things are going? If things start to improve, we can.
Tom, hold on. Tom, we don't have to. I just said that no one's doing anything until our next meeting, and I want you to read just what I read. No one's making a decision now. No, I'm not asking for a decision now. This is a topic for conversation.
But what exactly is the town manager asking us for? What is the town manager asking?
Comment. He's asking for the board. He's asking every chairman to talk to the board and garner comment from the board about their proposal, which I'm going to have Kelly send to everyone tomorrow. So when we have our next meeting, you can read exactly what I'm reading. No one's asking for a conversation right now. I mean, a decision right now. Nobody.
If I may comment, he did throw this out to everybody in the town hall. I know Valerie and I talked about it, about her board member. So it just went out, but this was prior to the numbers spiking up. This is when we thought we had it. And we thought.
That's why when I received it, it was already stale.
Right. So I think that issue is moot right now. There's no talk about anything.
I just want folks to think about it, because the thing was sent to me. I opened it and they said communicate it to the board. You know what? If I have a $1 million case and the other side offers me $5,000, and I go back and tell my client, they get pissed off. But I have an obligation to tell everybody what's going on. So that's, you know, I'm just telling you.
Disclosure on your part. Yep, I'll send that along. I'll ask him if I can send that along.
Okay. All right.
Great.
Thank you. Do we have any other business?
We do not, and we do not have any new cases. So as of right now, there is no meeting in December.
Okay. Well, that may solve the issue then, because we'll get a better read on where everything is by January, what day?
6th.
January 6th. Okay, folks, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn if anyone cares to make it.
A motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Ms. Santini. Do we have a second?
I second.
That was Mr. Lepore. I'll take a roll call. Mr. Barletta.
Yes.
Mr. Lepore.
Yes.
Ms. Santini.
Yes.
Mr. Siracusa.
Yes.
And then myself, yes. All right, folks, I hope you all have a great Thanksgiving Thanksgiving and Christmas. So happy holidays, everybody. I hope everyone has a safe and happy holiday season.
The same.
Good night.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.